Hello. I forgot what I was going to say. Let's go again. Is this how Phil feels at the start of the gaming videos?
Yeah.
The stress. Okay, let's go again. Hello, best friends club gamers, and welcome to a special episode of the Best Friends Club Podcast. We're your hosts. My name is Charlotte.
And my name is Fizz. Hi, everyone.
And we're back. I say we're back. We didn't go anywhere, but Dan and Phil...
We didn't really go anywhere.
Something.
Yeah, we were not expecting to record at all today, but something happened.
Something did happen.
Something big happened, and the entire world basically sort of, I don't know, like went into chaos, I feel like 2 days ago.
Yeah. And we thought, what an opportunity to discuss this on our podcast, which is all about Dan and Phil joint videos and the magnum opus of Dan and Phil joint videos, aka DanAndPhilGames, is returning. It's coming back from the dead.
It is literally, it's coming back. I feel like the timeline before, like between Phil posting that picture and like the actual video, like something shifted, right? Because everyone was like, oh my god, what's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? I saw lots of people saying like it would be the Devon wedding from the Sims video. Or just like them being like, okay, well, the gaming channel's dead. And for a minute, they had us.
They did.
Like, we were like, oh
they
yeah.
fooled us.
Literally until the words, even when like Dill was in the, I mean, we'll get in the video, but like even when Dill was in the video, I was like, oh, they're just making this whole thing. The Sim is gonna kill them probably, or something of the sort. Until I saw the text, like DanAndPhilGames is back from the dead, I was like, whoa.
And even then, I was still so confused. I was like, but so it's dead? Especially because the title of the video, I was like, oh, so it is dead? Or it's not? It's coming back?
The title is so confusing, saying goodbye forever, because you're not.
They're not. They're coming back.
They're coming back.
Why would they prank us like this?
They're sneaky. Dan Phil never doing what you expect them to do.
Which we should expect by now, but I suppose that's the beauty. It's very serendipitous. I think that's the word for that kind of situation.
Yeah. Especially for me, like coming back to my old, like the account obviously that I use for Dan and Phil stuff, I feel like people I hadn't spoken to for years were just there like, hey guys, it was such a reunion and it was so fun. It was just so great.
The whole of my timeline was just like awake. Like it's been in sort of a slumber while Dan and Phil haven't been doing anything. And then suddenly I come online and every single Phandom person that I've ever followed is awake and ready to go.
Yeah, and I also found out, like, because I have like a side K-pop account, how many people went from Dan and Phil to K-pop? Like that pipeline is so real. You don't be like, I know I went through it, but it's so funny to see like people be like, wait, what? Like Dan and Phil, and then we see each other and we're like, I was saying this, I found someone on K-pop Twitter that I've known for like 10 years.
Wow.
And I found her on K-pop Twitter and I was like, oh my god, me, like, this is crazy. It's like meeting someone outside, like, that you'd never expect to see at a place. It's just the internet is crazy. And the fact that people have done all of this is insane.
Dan and Phil especially, like, I feel like you cannot go anywhere on the internet and like find someone who didn't used to watch Dan and Phil. Like they're just always there. Like it's just like this common denominator amongst anyone on the internet, and they'll all have been like, "Oh yeah, I watched them for like a few years and then stopped." So I was like, "Oh no, I still watch them," and it's just like this big secret thing that people have, and you find out, and you're like, "What do you mean you also watch them?" It's insane.
Yeah, and it's just a little like community that's not actually that like little, but it feels like it. And some people are just like, oh, you've been watching them since you were like 10 or like even younger than that, and that kind of blows my mind as well. I'm just like,
oh my god, yes.
Yeah, because I was like I was 15 and I watched them I still watch them, So when people are like, "Oh, I stopped watching them when I was like 20," I was like, "What do you mean? How do you just stop?
You
Like, how did
can't
that
stop. You're
happen?"
not allowed to. They like have a hold on my brain.
Same. They're like, I hate like what the trend has become, but like they are like my Roman Empire because I'm always thinking about them. I'm I'm always thinking about them. Like, what are they up to? What are they doing? What have they got up their sleeve? They've got gaming channel back from the dead up their sleeve.
Yeah, that's what they've got up their sleeve. So, and the worst thing is, so this was announced on Sunday that, well,
Hmm.
Phil did that tweet, and I was at a concert that had like 20 minutes left, and I was looking at my phone to like take some videos, and I just see this message from Fizz that's like, Charlotte, what are Dan and Phil doing? And my brain just froze, and I was like, what do you mean? What are they doing? What do you mean?
What are they
And
doing?
I shouldn't have done it. It was really stupid of me to do it because then I couldn't think about anything else. But I stupidly clicked on the notification from Phil, saw this post, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, what on earth is going on? And then spent the last like 15, 20 minutes of this concert not being able to fully focus on it because all I could think was, oh my God, Dan and Phil, what are they doing? What on earth are they doing?
Seriously, like the disruption to our life that
And I
was on
hate it.
Sunday.
I hate it so much.
I was actually gonna do the question like the way we do in like in the podcast. Usually, like, "Oh, what were you doing when this video came out?" So you were
That's what I was doing.
you were at a concert, and it was like not even just like a silly little concert. You were there to see Darren Chris, right?
Yeah, the Darren Chris. And I was rudely interrupted by Dan and Phil, and then spent the next hour like I was sat in a pizza restaurant with my friends and my heart was racing, my hands were shaking, I couldn't focus, and then like the video dropped. I stole my friend's earbuds and was
Mhm.
watching it with just like this look of awe on my face, and at the end like I screamed so loud in this pizza restaurant, and all my friends like, Charlotte, like
Oh,
that's really embarrassing. And I just then apologized for the next 50 minutes, like, I'm so sorry, that was really loud. Like, I mean, and they're like, no, it's fine, it's okay, Charlotte. Like, luckily, they're all very accepting Phandom people, so they
hmm.
know this about me. But oh my God, it was awful. It was so bad. Why was I not at home?
Oh my God, no! I mean, that is really like I would have killed to see that in real life. But I did see the picture that you posted that someone like your friend
Yes.
took of you watching it. If you
Yeah,
want
if
to like
anyone
see that,
wants
that's
to
on.
go see that picture, go and see that on my account.
Yeah, I was also not at home, but I was visiting family this weekend. So I had to sort of like close myself off in a bedroom and put my earphones in and wait for this video. And I was freaking out because I was like, if it's anything that if it's anything but the gaming channel coming back or whatever, right? So I was like, I will cry right now. I will sob my eyes out if something. Because I remember when Dan's coming out video came out, I was crying start to finish,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And I was like, I don't want a repeat of that. But I was fine. I was like trying to hold in my squeals. Um, but it was great. But the video itself is so funny. Like you forget that they are funny
This
people.
it's so them as well that they did this entire like production um
Hmm.
just to announce like they hired a church, they got PJ to make a coffin. Speaking of, I think in the next couple of hours, PJ is dropping a sort of behind the scenes of making the video. So go and watch that when it comes out.
Yes, we have to go
That's
and watch that.
exciting.
But
Yeah,
that's super exciting. And they got Jacksepticeye and
insane.
they insane. And also like the fact that I mean we know that they are hoarders slash very sentimental people, but the
Hmm.
fact that they had like announcement moves there and the dill head and just like the little like light up boxes that they had in the background of
Oh yeah,
gaming
the little
videos as
Tetris
well.
cubes. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the fact that they kept all of that in a storage unit and they were just like, yeah,
I
you
mean,
can keep
I
it.
hope the announcement moose is in the house. That should not be in a storage unit,
Oh,
Fizz. That should
what?
be a pride of place on the
I mean,
mantelpiece.
I agree, but I hadn't seen it in years, so I was like, maybe it's not there.
That'd
But
be so sad. Poor announcement moose.
Yeah, but I mean that's what I'm saying. Like knowing how sentimental they are. Like if Dan can keep the pin-off questions from 2009 in a little box, I think they would keep announcement news. Do you have anything in the video that like stood out to you particularly?
I mean, the whole thing, to be honest, it was very like high art and very like camp of them to have made this whole scripted and like storyboarded 2 minute video
Mm,
just to announce the gaming channel's return. But I suppose, I mean, we've always said this, they're so passionate about everything they do and they put everything into everything that they do. And
yeah.
I know that the gaming channel is something that is so special to them. So it seems only fitting that they put this like blood, sweat, and tears into making this silly little announcement video. It's such a them thing to do.
Yeah, and it's so like you can tell immediately, even in when I saw the description and I was like concept Phil Lester and written by Dan Hull, it shows. It shows that this came out of Phil's silly little brain. And Dan
I
was
would
like,
love to
okay.
know the process. Yeah, I'd love to know the process behind how this came about. Like from them deciding, right, we're going to bring the gaming channel back, to
Hmm.
then Phil being like, what if we did a video? What if this was in it? What if we had a coffin and Dill rose from the dead?
Yeah, I can actually, that's what I can picture it in my mind as well because we've seen them do their behind the scenes um, sort of they've shown us what it's like, so I can almost picture it in my head. But I would love to see the behind the scenes of
Yes.
it. Be so
Side
cool.
note, do you think this video would be eligible for like an Oscar or a BAFTA? Can we nominate it? Because the
Uh,
acting
yeah,
was
yeah.
beautiful. The tears from both of them. I mean, I fully believed that they were heartbroken. I don't know about you.
I especially loved like Dan. I actually didn't see Dan's tears until my second watch, and I was like,
Hmm.
that is so subtle and beautiful, and I loved it. And like their expressions, I feel like we should campaign for them to get Oscars
I think we
nominations,
should.
and also to win it. Like,
If everyone who listens to this podcast goes and like writes to the Academy
the
to
Academy.
get Dan and Phil nominated, then I think we can make it happen.
Yes, yep, I want it. Um, but yeah, that was like the video. Yeah.
That was the video. So DanAndPhilGames is coming back. When? We don't know.
Mm-mm.
It could be. I feel like they're going to come back with Spooky Week or some version of Spooky Week. And
Same,
that's why they've announced it now. Like, that feels like the right time.
same. I think it's gonna be Spooky Week first. Uh, but I think, do you want to like talk about like the origins of the gaming channel? Because I feel like a lot of people weren't here for that, but we were.
Yeah, let's circle back to September 2014. Can you cast your mind back all those years ago? Nearly 10
Oh,
years ago.
oh God! Like yeah, like 9 years ago, isn't it? I was in 11th grade. I was 16. Um, I did look through my Twitter and see like what I was going through, and I was apparently like baking brownies. Funnily enough, I was baking the brownies that Dan and Phil baked for like a
Wow.
school
Oh my
event.
God.
Yeah,
That's spooky.
yeah, it is. You can tell like how much of my personality was like being in the fandom, but for me they had announced this thing called Project X, and we had no idea what it was, and the entire timeline is trying to figure out what the fuck is Project X. Hashtag WDF is
It
Project
was
X.
it was so mysterious, and I don't remember like the feeling at the time, but like I've been back and looked through lots of tweets from the time, and it was just lots of people being like, what is Project X? What is this going to be? I saw a few people even speculating it was going to be a gaming channel, because I think that gaming channels were kind of getting big at this time, so
Hmm.
it seemed like a sort of natural thing for them to do. But yeah, there was the mystery shrouding Project X, and
Yeah.
then on the 12th of September they both dropped like the trailer for Dan and Phil Games, and
Yeah.
the rest is history, as they say.
They posted, so it was around like, I don't know the time difference as such, but for me it was already midnight.
It
So
was definitely the evening because
mm,
I'd spent the day in London and I was on like a train home when they like dropped the video.
you're always out
And
of the house when they do.
I'm always out of the house. They hate me so much.
They don't want you and like the comfort of your home freaking out. They're just like, no, she's gonna have a public breakdown over the things we do. Uh, but yeah, so they posted their first video as well. Like they did their Donkey Kong video, their first ever one.
Hmm.
And I remember I looked at my tweets and I had said, I hope Phil swears. I hope Phil swears again. Like I hope the second chapter of the
I mean,
gaming channel.
yeah,
Yeah,
he sweared in the announcement video, so maybe this is the start of a sweary Phil.
exactly. I'm hoping and praying for that. Like a less censored Phil because it's been, I think, long enough, and he sort of let his guard down a bit on his main channel as well. He let his hair
Yeah.
down, literally and metaphorically. Um, yeah, I'm really excited. Ugh.
What were your thoughts at the time, like about a gaming channel? Do you remember being excited or skeptical or what?
Mm, I remember that so I'm not a gamer, like I'm not a gamer girl.
I'm also not a gamer girl.
But I remember being excited because it reminded me of the Sonic 4 video from back in the day.
Yes.
So I was like, oh my god, it's like that video but an entire channel. How fun. So like I wasn't sure if I would have been like watching all of these videos or whatever, but I remember being excited. What about you? As
I think,
non
yeah, I was just excited at like the concept of regular joint content because, I mean, that is the bread and butter of Dan and Phil, like joint
Hmm,
content. So even back then, the prospect that we were going to be getting regular joint content and videos of them being silly together was just like, oh my god, this is so exciting. Like they were at their peak in 2014 because obviously it was just before Tatanoff and Tabanoff, so
yeah.
things were like really ramping up. So I feel like there's just more things to be excited about.
Yeah, they were full of ideas. Now if you think about like the fact that they did gaming channel in September, they were probably like it was just before they started planning Tabanoff. So they were
Or even like as they were planning it, because it came out like a year later. So I reckon they would have been
mm,
in like the throes of writing and planning, and even like with the tour as well. Like that probably would have taken a really long time.
exactly. So they were clearly like full of ideas and wanting to clearly like immortalize their joint brand. Um, and they did a great job with like I think the gaming channel was one of their best like business career decisions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it did so
And I think as well, it appealed to lots more people, even if you weren't like a Dan and Phil fan. And I
well.
think they got, I mean, I know this from people that I follow, um, and just like other friends who aren't like huge fans of Dan and Phil, but like they love the gaming channel. And it was just such a huge pull for people to come in because it was like, oh, I like watching people play games and I love watching
Yeah,
these people play games because they're really silly. But yeah, I know lots of people who found Dan and Phil through the gaming channel. Say one of my like closest friends, she is a huge gaming channel fan, but isn't necessarily like a huge
that is
Dan
fun.
and Phil fan
Hmm.
separately. But she loves the gaming channel, and I think just for lots of people, the gaming channel is just this like really sort of special thing for them. So I'm
Yeah.
excited that they brought it back, and hopefully they can recreate some of that magic that they had back in like 2014, 2018.
Yes, and also recreate all of that, but also bring in like a new kind of energy to it
Oh, I'm so excited.
because we know so much about that. Like, I mean, I'm obviously talking about them coming up, but also like in the video, Sean or Jacksepticeye had said you were obviously like two gay men in the closet, um, and like whatever, like we wouldn't have. We wouldn't have said that back in the day, but like yeah,
Yeah,
and so now with them out of the closet they're going to be more, you have to assume that like the jokes are going to get more um intentional.
I don't
instead
I
of
don't know how they can, because some of the jokes in those gaming videos were like very close to the line for two supposedly like straight quotation marks men.
mm, I agree, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it'll be like more. Actually, I don't know if it'll be more intentional. I think they're just very. This is just how they are.
I think what I'm most excited for is just to be able to watch like 2023 Dan and Phil interacting in the gaming channel setting, because that was always like we said, I'm not a gamer girl. I came for the bants and well,
Mm,
I came for the games and I stayed for the bants. Like
mhm.
I don't really care about the games that they're playing. It's mainly about the banter that they have between them whilst they're playing the games. So I'm so excited to see what them together is going to look like on a gaming channel. Like I just feel like there's just so much possibilities and my brain cannot even fathom what that's going to look like and
Yeah.
how that's going to look. I'm so excited for that. Honestly cannot wait.
Yeah, I think the most we've gotten to see like their dynamic on camera since gaming channel days has been when Dan has showed up on Phil's or when they've showed up on each other's channels, right? For me,
Hmm.
the peak of that is when they do their annual like what Dan and Phil text each other videos.
Yeah,
I love those videos. I've rewatched those more times like recently than I've watched anything else.
same. They are some of my favorites.
They are excellent. And if you want to understand what Dan and Phil are like, actually, I would highly recommend those videos. Um, I
And what I like is I do like those videos, but I feel the dynamic they have on like the gaming channel is just so different to any like normal joint content.
mm,
Just like how they interact, and they've got the competitiveness as well when they do like games and them sort of working together and like shouting at one another and bickering.
mhm,
Like,
mhm.
oh my god, I truly cannot wait.
I cannot like this is like this new era. I'm I'm still a little bit in denial about it. As we're talking about it, I'm like, well, there's no video yet, so I feel like I won't believe it until I see them in front of a camera with controllers in their hands. You know,
Yeah, I mean,
but
hopefully it's not just some big like April Fool's
oh
Day
my god,
prank gone
no,
wrong
no way,
in
no.
October.
I would hate that. I would unstand so fast. You'd have to find a new co-host. I'd be like, no,
She'd leave.
I leave.
Speaking of leaving, 2018, Dan and Phil decided to go on hiatus from the gaming channel. What a segue that was!
Just sitting here in
That was
shock.
that was so
Well
smooth.
done, well done.
Thank
Anyway,
you. So, 2018, Dan and Phil posted their last gaming video on the 24th of December. And it was a Sims video, basically saying
mhm,
that they were going to be taking a break because they'd been so busy and wanted to concentrate on themselves. And as we know from then, Dan came out, Phil came out, lots of self
mhm,
discovery. Dan
mhm,
sort of disappeared for 6 months off the internet. Phil
mhm.
was
Yeah,
still around, kind of, but a lot changed.
yes, and I think the gaming channel needed to temporarily die for that to happen. I understand why they did it. I also think like 2018 was such a busy year for them. They were on a world tour, like an actual world
Yeah.
tour. And
And they were still making gaming videos whilst on a world tour.
yes, they were like sitting in hotel rooms with shitty hotel Wi-Fi and doing all of that. And I'm very impressed by it. So in hindsight, I have a lot of like respect and like I get it. But they did
Hmm.
like they never sort of they implied that they would come back and then they just did it. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you've been in the fandom since 2018, since the hiatus, you will know that there has been lots of. I'm trying to think of sort of the right word. I want to say like uproar and sort of
Tension? Like
tension
a bit more than that.
about
Yeah.
the hiatus. Yeah, obviously. I went back and had a look at like tweets from the time when they announced they were going to hiatus, and everything was very calm. Everyone seemed sort of okay with it, and then I think the upset came later when people started to realize that it wasn't just going to be like a 2-month break, and it was actually going to be something longer than just like a few months. And I know that a lot of, I'm going to say, criticism for Dan and Phil, and I know a lot of people left the fandom after this, because of Dan and Phil's terrible lack of communication with us, and people wanting that clarification as to what a hiatus was and if it was ever going to be coming back. I don't know if that made any sense. I hope it did.
I think, yeah, I remember that because I was also one of those people who I did again, like I never left because I was still watching their content, but from the fandom space, definitely, like I got into other stuff, so I was moving to a more active,
Yeah.
which makes sense, right? But I was always like, I feel like personally, I knew that it wasn't gonna come back. Slash, like it was just going to be one of those things where we just sort of put that away, and then one day in a live show or something they're going to explain it to us, but you never did, which is fine.
They never did. And I know I've seen a lot of people that like I follow and like sort of friends and mutuals and things like that. They were upset that like we never got that explanation as to why they decided to stop it, and there was never anything more, and they just sort of stopped. And say, I think that is a reason why a lot of people left the fandom at sort of the end of 2018, because again, like we said before, that joint content of the gaming channel was such a big pull for people, and then it was all taken away, and then Dan disappeared and Phil was just sort of doing stuff, so there wasn't anything to like keep people watching.
Yeah, I think one thing that I remember distinctly that was kind of annoying to people was that Phil did a video on Animal Crossing on his channel, and
Yes.
I think it was. Do you remember that? And I remember people being
Yeah.
super like side-eyeing about that because it's like, dude, you have a channel for this content, and yet you are posting it on Amazing Phil. Interesting, very very interesting. um, but yeah, like no acknowledgement, nothing. Didn't they? I feel like haven't they talked about like what happened to the gaming channel on Dan's channel? That one where they were like spill or kill. That.
Yes. Kill or Phil. Lies or Phil. Side note, that is my absolute favourite part of that video, and I cry laughing every time. Phil is so silly. Anyway, yes, they did on Dan's first Dystopia Daily collab with Phil. That was one
Phil.
of the sort of truths. And it was basically Dan wanted to stop, Phil wanted to continue. Obviously, Dan was dealing with lots of gay things, to put it nicely. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably the main reason that he wanted to stop. Would you agree?
I think so, yeah. But I can also see people being like, okay, well you came out, so why wouldn't you return to the gaming channel after that? But I feel like I think the video that he did, the Why I Quit YouTube video, gives a lot of context to that. Like he wasn't doing
Yes.
well, which is why I give him grace. I'm just like, you know what? The shit that was happening with you, I get it. Like I would probably also abandon a channel or whatever. Like so, but it's still like,
Yeah, I think as well,
mm,
one thing that Dan and Phil have always done very well is knowing when to stop something and knowing when, like, right, we've done this to the extent that we can. If we keep doing it, it's not going to be as good. Like when TV shows like go on for too many series and like the writing just gets terrible. I think Dan and
yeah,
Phil are very good at saying, right, we've done this thing now. It was amazing. We're going to wrap it up in a little bag and put it to one side. Like when they stopped Pin-Off, they stopped that at 10. And I think that they were right to do that. I think if they'd tried to drag it on,
it wouldn't work.
it just wouldn't have worked. And also they've grown
Yeah,
so much as people and changed so much that I think keeping those like same traditions just because the fans like it isn't healthy for them, because it's like, you know, they're not showing that they have grown and changed as people.
yeah, I agree, and I think they do a good job. Like, okay, so my example for that, like stopping something, and I think this might have been like a contract thing, not a choice. But their radio show, for example, I think
Mm-hmm.
They did that for a year and a bit, maybe 2 years, but then they changed the
Yeah.
concept a bit and they made it like so they wouldn't be there weekly. There would be other YouTubers coming in and they would do it once a month. And I think that's like a fun little switch up that they did. Um, Similarly, I think Pin-off is there, but I think them replacing Pin-off with like the occasional joint content video was also very fun of them because when they were still doing Pin-off regularly, they were doing so much joint content, like so much.
Yeah, so Pin-off wasn't special, was it? Like it
Mm.
was. Oh, like, we've already got joint content, so like Pin-off is still special. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong, but like
yeah,
it was like, oh, but it's just another like joint video. Like we've seen tons of joint videos of them this year. So what's special about this one?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
I think as
So
well, it had a lot to do with the ending of that joint branding. Because so much of their life for sort of the past 4 years, like 2014 up to 2018, was joint branding, Dan and Phil doing everything together. And I think, like they
yeah,
said in a video, I can't place the video, but they wanted to. Oh, I think it is in the last ever gaming video from 2018. Phil says like they just want to explore what they can do by themselves and not as like a duo, which is healthy of them. And
very
I'm glad that
healthy
they
of
did
them.
that.
Yeah, I think it says like so much that they intertwine so much of their like personal and professional lives together. Like everything about Dan and Phil from that era is like it was Dan and Phil, like their channels, their like apartment. They have talked about it before. Like that apartment, the London apartment that we talked about, is like was like a set to them because they had filmed
Yeah,
every corner of it, and like they shared so much without, which is so amazing. Like they hid like this huge part of themselves, and yet shared so much of their lives.
yeah.
So I get why it's exhausting and like why they needed to be like, okay, well, we need to figure out our solo branding because this can get tired very like we're tired or like we're sort of out of ways to keep the joint branding going or whatever.
So I have a few little statistics about the subscribers on DanAndPhilGames. For those who don't know, I also run DMP Central on Twitter. Or help to run it. It's not
Woo!
just me by myself. So we post lots of updates about Dan and Phil and things like
Mhm.
that. So we were having a look at their subscribers to post. And on Sunday, they gained 20,000 subscribers from the announcement. And then on the
Whoa.
Monday, they gained another 10,000 subscribers.
So clearly people love the gaming channel
Or
and the
going
fact that
back
yeah, going
or
back.
finding them again.
Yeah. I think
And
that's
then
great for
I
them.
was having a look.
Hmm.
I'll get it, yeah. And then I was having a look this morning, and on Sunday they gained 44,000 views on their channel after the announcement, and then on Monday they gained over 1 million new views on their gaming channel.
Whoa. Whoa.
How insane is that?
It is so insane. Did I? Whoa. So like that's generally on the channel, like that's how many?
That's just generally on the channel, yeah, because the new Saying Goodbye Forever video only has 896k views. So it's obviously
Mm,
people obviously watching that and then going back and rewatching loads of gaming videos. But that's insane because they hadn't gained any sort of new video views in
hmm.
those kind of numbers at all.
At all for like years probably. That's so crazy. But that's I'm not surprised because I was one of them. I also went back and watched gaming videos.
Yeah,
So yeah. Oh, like that nostalgia, dude. It's there's nothing like it. Like that moves people to do things.
honestly.
Yeah. Like the first thing I did when I found out was look back at my tweets, right? Even if we weren't going to do this video,
Yeah,
I would have this episode, I would have done it. And I found a tweet where I had taken a screenshot of the channel, and it said I was 163rd subscriber of the channel.
that's insane.
That is insane to
That's
me.
insane. That is
Yeah. Oh my
163 subscribers, and now it has 2.8 million subscribers.
god. I could cry. I won't cry, but like I could
Crazy.
cry. Yeah. I hope. I mean, I'm so excited for this new era for them.
I'm also so excited. Maybe I think as well, this is like, oh, maybe we should do gaming videos. So maybe we'll see what happens, whether we venture into gaming channel
Oh my
content
god.
as a, maybe we could do like one a month as like a special and like work our way through rather than doing them all in an order.
Yeah, I think all of them would be a bit much, perhaps. Because I
But we
know that
could do them like sporadically.
for sure. Like, if anyone has any video that you would like us to talk about, because again, we've been there for the entire um, lifetime of the gaming channel, so we have more stories to tell.
Hmm.
But and some gaming channel videos are more significant than the others.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be super cool. Like once a month or once every other day.
Just like drop
Yeah,
one in.
yeah. It can be one of these fandom chats episodes as well.
Yeah. Or we'll make it like gaming channel chats.
Gaming.
I don't know. We'll work on the title. It's a working title.
Yeah, this is like a new segment that we can do for sure. Oh my god, we've got like a cute little show now. But
Love this.
yeah,
Yeah, so thank you everybody for listening to this very spontaneous episode. We do have a new episode coming next week that we recorded last week that was supposed to be dropping like this week.
yeah,
I said week too many times then. So that will be coming next week. That is the epic prank off video. But we had to do this. We had to discuss this
we had to.
in the moment. Well, as close to the moment as we could get.
Yeah, and also like next week when you listen to the episode, we are not going to be aware of any of this, so we're not going to mention it
Yeah.
at any point, and it's going to be really funny. Like those girls have no idea. They don't know.
I have no idea. They didn't. They've got a big storm coming.
I know. Oh my god. And then after that, we will be back to our regularly scheduled program. We'll be doing Christmas cookies.
Of normal joint content.
Yeah.
Yes, Christmas cookies.
And that's gonna be super fun. We'll get in like festive content. It'll be great. Thank you all for listening to this one.
Yes, thank you all for listening. And we'll see you very soon.
Yeah. Bye.
Goodbye.